Each spring, I have the delightful privilege of welcoming our respected community friends of the university, namely members of our three groups, our foundation board, our president's and community ambassador council, and our alumni advisory council to hear from me and all of my cabinet members. So thank you for joining us. You can find their names listed on the presentation slide. In addition, please let me recognize many of our local, city, county, and state elected officials, representatives, community, and business leaders. We appreciate you making the time to join us. To our academic Senate Speaker, Dr. Keith Nameby, and all Senate members, thank you for your unwavering perseverance as we navigate these trying and tumultuous times. To Eileen Rusica and all of our staff council, we appreciate your earnest work and care for our staff and our students. To our ASI President, Sanella Agassi, and all ASI and the University Student Center Board members, thank you for your articulate and excellent representation and support of our students. And finally, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the few new faculty and staff administrators and those who've been recently promoted. Once again, you can see their names on their presentation slide. Congratulations and welcome to all. This week, we begin another challenging semester, once again among a backdrop of historic events that we have not encountered during our lifetimes. While the first weeks of 2021 have been tense, I want to thank our devoted faculty, staff, and administrators who've gone above and beyond the call of duty in teaching our students and keeping the university functioning seamlessly during the past 10 months. You've all worked tirelessly to ensure that our students enjoy a rich academic experience. Last week, 22-year-old Amanda Gorman became the youngest person to deliver a poem at a U.S. presidential inauguration. Her words were so inspiring and conveyed a sense of hope. She said, and I quote, "We are striving to forge a union with purpose to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us." End quote. Now, more than ever, we face a moment in time where each of us can decide to create positive change within our communities and work together. We are stronger when we are unified and when we direct our efforts towards the common good. I know that we will get through this and we will emerge fortified because we are warrior strong. With that, I would like to share with you a few campus updates. First, COVID-19. The rollout of two effective FDA-approved vaccines. Um, sorry, uh, I am not being able to see. There we go. Um, okay, while the vaccine rollout actually has progressed more slowly than expected, this vaccine will be critical in the fight against this insidious and very deadly virus. You've likely heard by now that our Fitzpatrick Arena will serve as one of Stanislaus County's vaccination clinic sites. In fact, last week, with the support of our students and the faculty from the School of Nursing, the Stanislaus County Health Service Agency had administered 1,400 vaccine on the first day of its opening in phase 1A for healthcare professionals and those over 65 years old. I am so proud and gratified of everyone's efforts to step up in working so rapidly with our county health agency to help host this vaccination site on our campus. And for those of you who've asked, when will the vaccine be available to the rest of our Stanton State faculty and staff and possibly our students? Well, as of now, we don't yet have details on when Stanislaus County will begin vaccinations for those in the next phase, 1B, of the county distribution plan, but please note that we will share that information as soon as it's available. Number two, campus repopulation plan. As communicated last fall by the Office of the Chancellor, all CSU campuses hope to return in-person operations for this next fall 2021 semester. I've asked my cabinet to convene our normal existing committees plus the staff repopulation team during this spring semester in order to develop and set rigorous criteria, processes, protocols, and conditions for repopulating the campus as we prepare for reopening in fall 2021. You will hear more about these efforts in the coming weeks and months. Number three, Guided Discovery for Personal Leadership Program. As the pandemic has caused everyone to shift their thinking and the way in which we work, now is a good time for us to reflect on our professional and our leadership skills. So this semester, we're launching an exciting new pilot program open to interested faculty, staff, and administrators on campus called Guided Discovery for Personal Leadership and Workplace Effectiveness. Interested employees can sign up for this program, and you'll hear more about this from Julie Johnson, our Senior AVP for HEROC, in a few moments. The deadline to apply is February 4. Budget announcement number 4. Earlier this month, Governor Newsom unveiled his preliminary 21 to 22 January budget proposal, which includes $144.5 million in recurring funding for the CSU, including $30 million to support students' basic and essential needs. The proposal also provides $225 million in one-time funding for the CSU, including $1 million for enrollment funding for our Stanislaus State Stockton campus. So on March 29th at 1:30 p.m., we will host a virtual open forum to provide an update on the Stockton classroom situation as well as the new building project. So please save the date. We are grateful to Governor Newsom's support and for making higher education a priority. Our CFO, Christine James, will say a bit more about budget shortly. Number 5, sharing our forward thinking. It goes without saying that we are all fervent in our hopes of happily emerging and soon leaving behind the most unimaginable challenges of the pandemic of 2020. So, as we welcome and contemplate the promise of a new 21 year, I am asking the campus to now begin pivoting and channeling our energies and vision to focus anew on affirming and showcasing our ongoing strengths and our innate grit to working collaboratively with each other in the face of calamity in order to better support everyone on campus. In other words, let's mark the advent of 2021 as a time to contemplate a new year of forward and positive thinking. Consequently, we're in an exciting beginning stages of building an innovative, interactive virtual program that will do two things. One, while the campus continues to operate in a virtual format, we will work on creating a regular virtual forum or series to make much more visible the ongoing achievements and distinctive work by so many of our remarkable faculty, students, staff, and administrators who did not let the pandemic daunt their work and efforts. And two, we hope to provide a more regular opportunity for students, faculty, staff, and especially our alumni, our Stockton campus, and our communities with the opportunity to actively participate in and interact with our panels on various topics that highlight how the campus continues in our forward thinking and action in making important accomplishments. So look for more details soon. And 6, accolades. Finally, even though this academic year has been one of unparalleled, unmatched disruption and challenge, Stan State continues to be recognized nationally for our academic excellence, affordability, and the quality of our programs. Our campus was included in numerous national rankings of social mobility and excellence, as you can see in this slide. In addition, in December, our first cohort of Governor Newsom's AmeriCorps Civic Action Fellows were sworn in with only 7 other California public and private universities. In fact, 47 of our amazing students will serve as peer mentors in high schools in our county and assist high school students with college and career readiness. This program will cultivate a new generation of scholars who will serve as ambassadors, peer leaders, and role models of civic engagement in the ideals that advance our communities and our nation. In closing, I'm deeply grateful and honored to be part of our dynamic campus community that leads with such compassion, excellence, and integrity. By working together, we will help drive the change that the world is seeking. We are warriors and we are Central Valley tough. Now, I'd like to have each of my cabinet members provide brief additional updates from their respective units. So please welcome Provost Kim Greer, who will begin with an update from Academic Affairs. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Make sure I have my camera going. Okay. We are fast approaching the 1-year anniversary of the day that Stan State had to make a difficult, hard pivot away from our normal spring semester into an environment in which we were teaching working remotely with only a few weeks to prepare for that seismic transition. Since that moment in time, our lives have felt probably anything but normal. Certainly, we have found many moments of purpose and inspiration despite the many challenges. Faculty, staff, administrators, and students have been juggling work, study, childcare, care for family members. We've all been worried about COVID-19, financial burdens for so many, social and racial injustice, as well as the country's divisive political climate. All the while, we have endeavored to live up to our mission to educate students in the Central Valley and provide them pathways to future success in life and in work. We've carried friends, family, and colleagues in our hearts. We've prayed and worked towards a time when we were past the pandemic. We've postponed many important traditions and aspects of our lives that bring meaning and joy in order to keep ourselves, our families, and our communities healthy and safe. Like President John, I wanted to say to all of you who have lost loved ones to COVID, who've cared for loved ones dealing with COVID, and who have lost loved ones you could not adequately mourn because of COVID, I say to you, I am profoundly sorry for your losses and for your pain. We included some photos that you can see of life before the pandemic, because as we know, and as President Biden mentioned during his inauguration, he reminded us in order to heal, we must remember. And it's joyful to remember these days when we could all be together on campus. I don't think any of us are quite ready to start celebrating a post-pandemic reality. We simply are not there yet, but I emphasize yet. Vaccines, as you know, have been approved. News reports indicate the promise of at least one more possible vaccine. However, until just this very week, California continued to have travel restrictions and a stay-at-home order in effect, and the virus continued to surge here and nationally. The rollout of the vaccinations has not occurred as quickly or smoothly or as broadly as we would have liked. Here in Stanislaus and San Joaquin counties, we remain in the purple tier. However, we do have reasons for hope, many reasons for hope, actually. And based on that hope for our future, we start planning for our future Stan State. As President John mentioned, as I know you all are aware, before the end of the fall semester, the CSU system announced a strong desire to return to a more normal in-person instruction in fall 2021. This means we need to begin planning for the next academic year immediately. We recognize that it's not as simple as flipping a switch and returning to campus completely face-to-face by the fall. We hope to offer as many in-person courses as we can do so safely. I know it feels like we've been engaged in a continuous state of planning for the past year, but this planning feels differently to me, and I hope it feels differently to you. Now with new federal leadership, with vaccines, with a federal plan to combat the coronavirus, and with the recent announcement yesterday that the new administration is working to obtain an additional 200 million vaccine doses, we can start to see and can start to envision a future that one day will no longer include a global pandemic. As educators and lifelong learners ourselves, we have learned a lot during the last year. We can start to think and create not just a plan for another semester, not just for an academic year, but for our post-pandemic future. Building on all that we have learned through our shared experiences, we can apply that knowledge to help us build and help prepare for a more flexible institution of higher education. I know you may justifiably be exhausted from all the planning and all the problem solving that has dominated all our lives this past year. But I hope, and I'm asking you to join important conversations this spring to proactively and wisely prepare for the next academic year. We need all your ideas and perspectives. We know that, frankly, we have to plan for multiple scenarios. As much as members of our campus community dream about and desire a return to normal, we recognize we've all been forever impacted by the pandemic in significant ways. And in reality, we're called to build a new normal. The need to think and work differently has increased our flexibility. We need to think about the complement of face-to-face, hybrid, and online courses we will construct for students. You, the faculty, with the support of Academic Affairs leadership team, will drive that development as you conceptualize how the fall semester and beyond will look. Throughout the pandemic, we have been faced daily with unique situations and tons of factors that have often been outside our control. So frankly, many questions still remain. For example, how will programs deliver their curricula in ways that best meet the needs of students? What combination of teaching modalities do faculty see as working for each successive semester? Once we have an understanding of the plan for instruction, how will other divisions plan to return to campus as appropriate? How can we most effectively help students, ours in K through 12, who will struggle for some time with the consequences of the virus on their educations and their coping support systems? What kinds of changes do we need to make to classrooms and other spaces to facilitate and support the pedagogy of all faculty? How do we strengthen our sense of community when portions of our campus may continue to work remotely for a time? And lastly, how do we not only sustain but enhance shared governance with all these challenges and opportunities? We have much to examine, discuss, and share this spring as we plan for the future. I have absolutely no doubt that we can do it. I ask you to join me in these conversations as soon as possible. Again, these plans will require participation across the university to build. In addition to our usual opportunities to come together to talk, such as deans, chairs, and directors meetings, we do have open forums and focus groups scheduled to solicit information and data to support the planning process. Please watch for the emails. They should be coming out in the next day or so for those open forums. In closing, I am so very grateful for you and for your commitment to our students. I am indebted to you for all you have given of yourselves this past year. It has not been easy, yet we have not been broken down by this experience. Rather, and perhaps we have been broken open, as Elizabeth Lesser has described. And I quote, "How strange that the nature of life is change, yet the nature of human beings is to resist change. And how ironic that the difficult times we face, how ironic that the difficult times we fear might ruin us are the very ones that can break us open and help us bloom into who we were meant to be." As this last slide, or the current slide I have before you reflects, we have never stopped planning for the future at Stan State. I look forward to building it with all of you. Stay safe, warriors, and thank you very much. Oh, excuse me. I would now like to introduce and turn the program over to our CFO, Christine James.
Thank you, Provost Greer. Good afternoon and welcome back. I want to thank Kim for all of her words about working together for planning as we move forward to hopefully move us beyond this, locked in our spaces on campus. So Let's talk a little bit about some practical matters. As the President John mentioned, the governor presented his proposal for the 21-22 budget on January 8th. The proposal includes a $144.5 million increase in recurring funds to the CSU operating budget. This breaks down in the following manner. $111.5 million for general operating costs, which is a 3% increase to the state appropriation. $15 million for the graduation initiative. $15 million for student mental health and technology needs that are extremely important to campuses during this time. $2 million to support a system-wide learning management system, which they specifically mentioned was Canvas. And $1 million for enrollment funding for Stan State Stockton Center. In addition to recurring funds, the governor spoke about one-time funds available for CSU. This $225 million breaks down as follows: $175 million for deferred maintenance projects across the system, $30 million for student emergency funds, $10 million for student emergency grants, $10 million for the Monterey Bay Computer Talent Initiative, and $10 million for faculty professional development on cultural competencies. In addition to the state funds that we have received additional federal stimulus funds. In addition to the CARES Act funding that we received last year, there's a second round of stimulus funds that has been awarded to Stan State. We received a total of $22,015,043, where $6.6 million is for student aid. So this is similar to the amount that we received last year for student aid. And the remaining $15.3 million is for institutional support. Again, this is in addition to the first round of funding that we received, which was a total of $14.3 million. We are now working to understand how these new funds can be spent, and I'm waiting for some additional instruction from the Department of Education and our Chancellor's office. We hope to have these funds spent, particularly the student aid funding, out to students soon. As President John mentioned, I would also like to talk a bit about COVID-19 on campus and what we are doing to help employees, students, and faculty on campus. I want to remind you that as employees of Stan State and students, that we continue to follow the safety protocols for campus. Remember to wash your hands, social distance, and please wear your face coverings. We want to remind people that if you're ill, do not come to campus. If you need to come to campus for any reason, please complete the daily screening. And if you say yes to any question, please do not come to campus and follow the instructions you receive via email. This will be one of the ways that we can keep our campus healthy going forward during this pandemic. I've added a link to the COVID-19 website to the slide deck. If you have any COVID-19 questions, please start here. This link is where updated information for what we're doing on campus is updated on a regular basis. If you have a close contact or you've tested positive, please go to the site and make sure that you follow the instructions there. I would also like to encourage employees to get tested on a regular basis at the free testing site on campus. We've worked hard with HR support pros to provide this free testing on campus. There's specifically a Stan State walk-up line, which makes it very quick and easy to get tested. We appreciate your cooperation and support by following the COVID-19 safety procedures, and we want everyone to stay safe and healthy. Well, while we've been all off campus, we've also been moving forward on many capital projects on campus. I'd like to talk about what is ongoing. The library renovation project is on track for completion for June of 2021. so that we'll have it ready for fall, where we will hopefully be returning many people to campus. The Child Development Center is in the design process. And in addition to these larger projects on campus, there have been many small ADA infrastructure projects across campus, main dining upgrades, elevator upgrades, and more. We've also completed the solar array in parking lot 4 and currently working on design to add solar to the student center. These projects will help us with campus sustainability. In talking about sustainability, I also want to remind people that last year we completed the STARS audit and received a silver rating for our sustainability efforts across campus. Now that we have this report, the Council for Sustainable Futures is working on a sustainability strategic plan for the campus. We'll be working with groups across campus to look at the different projects that are possible to support the sustainability efforts. There are many other items that I could tell you about, but don't have the time during this short meeting. But I want to acknowledge all the work done by business and finance staff and those that they work with across campus. I would now like to introduce our CIO, Rafael Espinoza, to talk about the IT efforts that we have across the campus. Rafael.
Thank you, Christine. So I have quite a bit of information to cover, so I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. 3 areas that I'd like to speak to would be OIT metrics, our current projects, and our future projects. OIT metrics is a reflection of all of the hard work by our faculty, staff, students, and OIT. 8,000 tickets, 11,000 phone calls represent a dramatic increase in support requests that we received last year. A comparable period the previous year, we received around 3,000 to 4,000 tickets and phone calls. Additionally, working with the Provost Office, procurement, and receiving, client services ordered, tagged, configured, and deployed over 2,500 devices for our students and staff and faculty. This included 600 laptops and 1,100 hotspots, plus document cameras, webcams, monitors, keyboards, et cetera, even a few green screens. The most amazing thing about this accomplishment was that the vast majority of it was done within 6 weeks of leaving campus. From a security perspective, because of our new online, virtual, remote environment, we have had a dramatic increase in security threats and attacks. In 2019, we blocked 1.7 million threats. In 2020, we blocked 41 million threats, vulnerabilities, and attacks. My hat's off to the security team. They did an amazing job this last year. Also, I want to thank the entire campus. Our multi-factor authentication enrollment, we are one of the few CSUs that have 100% enrollment in under 3 months. Again, my hat's off to the security team. Concerning current projects, we have over 100 projects in flight. I'm not going to list all 100 of those projects, of course. From our business automation, we have electronic data integration on the back end, which includes financial aid, enrollment services, and finance. In 2019, there were 4,000 digital forms processed. In 2020, 7 times that number, 28,000 digital forms were processed, and we have quite a few other workflows in the queue. We took advantage of the fact that the campus was depopulated to improve our infrastructure. We worked on our access layer, and we installed 700 high-capacity Wi-Fi access points across the campus. We continue to work hard up at Stockton as well. We've improved the Wi-Fi there, the classroom technology. We are currently installing cameras and digital door locks for all of it, for Stockton campus. These last 3 bullet items, excuse me, are more of an announcement. Broadband for all. George Cirillo, our Deputy CIO, and David Sawyer, our procurement specialist, negotiated contracts with Comcast and Iera, 2 local ISPs, to provide free internet access to all of our students during the spring semester. Additionally, our virtual computer labs are now open, and our technology checkout page is now live. For those last 3 items, please go to the OIT website for additional details and for any questions that you may have. Future projects. These projects are either in the feasibility or research stage currently. We recently submitted to NSF a $4 million research grant. We're hoping, if that grant is funded, to have a high performance compute and science DMZ cluster on the Stanislaus campus, enriching our research environment. We are looking also at virtual IDs and augmented virtual reality for our classrooms. We're also talking with cellular providers to bring 5G to the campus. And we are lastly working on passwordless authentication, authentication without passwords, right? And as usual, we are always thinking about our classrooms and how we can upgrade those for the fall semester. I'd like to invite anybody with feedback or questions or any support issues to contact me directly or any of the OIT managers, or go to the OIT website to submit project proposals. That's all I have. And I'd like to introduce our VP of University Advancement, Michelle Lottie.
Thank you, Raphael. Hi, Warriors. President Jun has provided me this wonderful opportunity to share with you all the announcement that the university has crossed the finish line of the 5-year, $15 million goal that was established for the president upon her arrival by then Chancellor Timothy White, and that was in 2016. So we're finishing that goal a few months ahead of schedule. We had hoped to reach it sooner, but we're still happy we made it. There's no time to dive deep into what made up the 15 million. Those results will be finalized at the close of the fiscal year. And we will come back with you and share data and analysis, and most important, celebrate and say thank you. I'm going to push this down for a second, sorry. But I do want to take a minute to share with you some of the gifts that helped us cross the finish line in late 2020. First-time donor, Dr. Stephanie Brown, a retired pediatric physician, funded 2 $100,000 scholarships in the College of Science, one for first-generation pre-med students and the other for first-generation pre-nursing or nursing students. We also had help from longtime donors, Dr. Dorothy and Bill Bazzini, and Jim and Julie Vieira, who made significant contributions to the Warrior Athletics Scholarship Initiative, getting us closer to the $1 million goal for athletic scholarships. Another longtime supporter, the Bright Family Foundation, stepped out beyond their annual support of scholarships and also donated $30,000 to the Campus Cares Emergency Fund. But, you know, we couldn't have done it without all the warriors helping other warriors. Those closest to us carried us in 2020. We accomplished the $15 million goal because of our own warriors. The Stanislaus State California Faculty Association has been a leader for student basic needs, establishing the Campus Cares Endowment in 2017 and supporting the initiative since. They even made an appeal to their memberships in December as we saw a spike in food insecurity and emergency requests rising. The associated students continue to support student basic needs and scholarships. Dr. Alan Greenberg, the first dude, made a contribution to allow our students to attend the Carnegie Center for the Arts free of charge when we can in fact go to the gallery. And our own Paul Norris, Director of Equity Program and Compliance, serves on the board of their Small Family Foundation along with his husband and their 6 children. And they gave their first gift to the campus in support of food insecurity. These are just some examples of what it means to be a warrior. Our brand platform introduced in 2020 has helped us organize and think about how to conceptualize what it means to be a warrior and what Stan State represents. So we'll continue to engage the voices, experiences, and relationships that Stan State alumni, faculty, deans, staff, boards, and councils offer, either as part of their official role or through volunteering. And standing on our reputation, our quality, and of course our warrior spirit, we will create a strong and lasting culture of philanthropy. Finally, I'll close with a teaser. In the coming days, we will announce a new transformational gift of $250,000 that will place Stanislaus State at the table in building the regional economy. So stay tuned. Now I'm passing the baton to Dr. Rosalie Rush, my colleague, who is our Senior AVP for Communications and Public Affairs. Rosalie?
Thank you, Michelle. And I love the way you're infusing our Stand Up campaign and all of our brand pillars into what we're doing. Our web team has been working diligently on the web redesign. Thank you to everyone on campus for your input. Here's what you can expect in the coming months. In February and March, the web team will be reaching out to all departments and divisions to discuss updating and migrating your web content. In April, please watch your emails and Stan News for lots of information, including useful tips and video tutorials on navigating the new site. And in May/June, we're still working on that time frame, our new site will be scheduled to go live and revealed. We are so looking forward to providing you with a seamless transition to the new and improved website. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to contact the web team at webteam@csustan.edu. Next, I'm turning it over to VP Christine Erickson for Student Affairs.
Thank you, Rosalie. Good afternoon and happy Warrior Wednesday. I hope you're all able to take some restorative and productive time off over the break. I have many exciting updates and I thought to share some nuts and bolts with you since you've probably already read about many highlights and successes of student affairs departments in Stan News lately. Recent articles have been about our Male Success Initiative, undocumented student services, student support services, our stellar students from Disability Resource Services, Project Rebound, which serves our formerly incarcerated students, and Promise Scholars, which serves our former foster youth, just to name a few. We've been busy increasing our basic needs outreach and support to students in Stockton, and we've been working with ASI to implement more evening services for graduate students and for students who are unable to access services during the day. The evening hour links are now live on the Student Services landing page that lists the hours and contact information in one place. And that page will be updated as additional departments offer extended hours. Now, as you've heard kind of a theme today about collaboration, as with most successes, collaboration is the name of the game. And we in Student Affairs have been partnering with folks across the university to engage in direct outreach and support for our students. Since May, we've worked with almost every division to conduct campaigns where we directly contacted students who had not taken a needed action, and we asked students directly what they needed. We're working to systematize these campaigns, which include surveys, emails, and phone calls. And this is but one strategy to further our equity efforts as we examine the possible disparate impacts of Stan State's various processes and deadlines. Since May, we've conducted spring and fall 2020 COVID surveys where we asked students what they needed and what their challenges were, and then we followed up with students with phone calls. We also conducted fall 2020 and spring 2021 re-enrollment campaigns and fall 2020 and spring 2021 enrollment deposit and orientation fee phone calls. I'd like to give a quick example just to demonstrate what this looks like. And I'm going to use the fall 2020 enrollment campaign as an example. So we had 587 eligible continuing students attending in spring 2020 who did not enroll for fall 2020. So we sent a survey to those students asking what their plans were and if they were experiencing any barriers to enrollment. 133 students responded. We followed up the survey with phone calls and emails to answer questions and address the barriers students reported experiencing. Some students had missed a deadline and didn't know that they could still enroll. Some had questions about their financial aid or other issues, and we were able to follow up with every student who was receptive to additional contact. This campaign as a whole yielded 31 additional student enrollments for fall 2020, which was 5% of the original 587. Because we serve largely first-generation students who are from historically underserved backgrounds, the last thing we want is for a missed deadline or an unasked question to cause someone to leave college. As I mentioned, we're working on institutionalizing this practice in addition to other interventions which promote equity and success for all of our students. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our Vice President for Strategic Planning, Enrollment, and Innovation, Dr. Gitanjali Kaul.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here with you. I brought you some information on enrollment. I know it's on everybody's mind, and I know that as campus as a whole has been following our trends for the past several months. So I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about spring enrollment, current enrollment of students for this current semester. I want to talk about applications for fall 2021, and then a little bit about our yield activities. Spring 2021, we are getting close to the start of classes, and we find that at this point, our undergraduate headcount is down probably about 3.7, 3.5%, somewhere in that range. And our total headcount is down about 2.5. My numbers are as of a couple of days ago. And I think that these numbers, if we were to run them again today, we would probably, I think it'd be safe to say that we're about just a little bit over 2% down overall. Being down is never good, but I still feel that we have come a long way in being able to enroll students. And I give credit to everybody in our campus community that has worked so hard on doing this. And you just heard from Christine Erickson about the phone calls that were made. I'm sure that these phone calls have made a big difference in having our continuing students enroll in greater numbers. I want to point out that our first-time transfer students are up. And so our transfer students today, we have about 43 more of them than we did last spring. So that was a really good turn of events. And I think that our WOW programming, which has placed staffing, our staff on our 3 feeder community colleges, has helped in that regard as well. Our continuing undergraduate enrollment for spring is, as you know, down a little. And when I dig a little bit deeper into that, it's mostly freshmen. And that seems to be a theme in our numbers. So real quickly on the slide in front of you, you can see that for next fall, again, for first-time freshmen, we still continue to have fewer applications, and we'll probably be, even despite all our yield activities, will be down, I would say somewhere between 18 to 20% with our fall freshmen for upcoming fall. There's a lot going on there's a lot that has been going on already to help our application numbers. Some of you know that we had extended our deadline. There were just a lot going on there. But now we are switching gears and moving into yield. And there's about a list of 25 different new activities that are going on that I can't mention here, but I thought I would highlight just a few. One of the new things that we're doing is doing what's next parent presentations to involve families as a whole. We were planning on doing this for students, but now we're doing it for parents as well. So the plan is to, in the next few months, talk to parents about deadlines, answer their questions, talk about new student orientation, about early alert and so on. And this would be a new way in which we're reaching out into the community. There are a lot of new presentations going on how to complete the financial aid file. That's another thing that's on everybody's mind. And then finally, I want to mention that this year, our staff in admissions and outreach have put together this really awesome program to have our new student, admitted students be part of affinity groups. And what that means is that they will be connected in different ways to for example, our cross-cultural center, or other areas that are promoting group membership in different kinds of affinity groups. A lot more to discuss, but I think I need to move on, and I think I will pass the program on to Julie Johnson, our Senior AVP for HEROC.
Thank you, Gitanjali. And good afternoon, warriors. So these comments are going to be brief, but I am following the Q&A section. So if anybody has a question that we can follow up on, put it in there, and then we'll be sure to follow up on those questions. Back to President Jen's announcement of the guided self-development leadership program. There is more information in the hyperlink that's in the chat about the specific live Zoom sessions with San Jose State Professor Annette Nellen. She is a director of their tax program, but she has a personal interest in developing and creating opportunities for these cohorts to discuss personal leadership, career development plans, and has developed this program in San Jose that she is willing to share with us. So we're very excited to have her expertise and her willingness to provide these sessions. The content also will involve the reading of 2 books related to personality tests and weaved into the 8 live Zoom sessions, but also the opportunity to have small group sessions with 2 or 3 people that then you can discuss your specific career development plan, your development of your professional presence in a more intimate environment. And again, the last day to register is February 4th. If you have any issues with registering using the form, please reach out to me, and either I will assist you with doing it and get your information into the system, or we'll make sure that is not an impediment. On to the second item. CHRS implementation is Stanislaus State's HEROC unit's opportunity to work with Fullerton and the Chancellor's Office to continue to create the build out of PeopleSoft 9.2 for the system as a whole. This includes working with many of the business and finance units that do all of the work behind the scenes that ensure that people are in their right positions, that budget is transferred for personnel actions, and that we all receive our paychecks that are accurate and on time. So it's a project that is not a lot of sexy things to say on a highlight, but it is incredibly important work. It's tedious, and the end product will be something that we are helping to deliver to the CSU that will change the way we do business to create more efficiencies and functionality for the CSU as a whole. One component of integrating CHRS as one campus, one CSU system is CHRS recruiting. We have now had CHRS recruiting for multiple forms of employment of administrators and staff for all of 2020. And during that time, HR created 508 administrative and staff openings. We received and reviewed 6,295 applications and extended the offer to 349 applicants. So it's an incredible amount of work. CHRS recruiting provides us the opportunity to gain a lot of data about where we obtain applicants, what avenues of job marketing is working for us, and where we can focus our resources. And lastly, I'd like to quickly mention that HR team members Marla Clark and Cassidy Lyles continue to update our HR professional development website with new live and on-demand learning and development opportunities. As one specific highlight, Marla and Cassidy created a self-paced career development toolkit as part of our continuous contribution to the university's strategic plan goal 4, which is to provide increased learning and development opportunities for staff and administrators. It's a part of a series of courses you can take. It has specific things related to webinars, readings you can do, and most of the content is on LinkedIn or through CSU Learn. So there's no additional cost, and you can do it on your own time or with the direction and support of your supervisor. And with that, all of HREOC wishes you an engaging and productive spring 2021. And I'm pleased to hand over the presentation to our Director of Presidential Initiatives, Naisha Rhodes.
Thank you, Julie. I'll make this very quick. This semester, I'll be focusing on opportunities to inform and engage the broader campus community in our federal and state advocacy efforts. Our campus is assigned a legislative delegation, and we provide periodic updates to them on topics related to various system and campus priorities that demonstrate how state and federal support consistently provides an outstanding return on investment in our students, institutions, research, and communities. This year, some of those key priorities include COVID relief for students and institutions, support for Dreamers, improving access and timely completion, and enhancing campus health, safety, and infrastructure. Next week, particularly, is the CSU System-Wide State Advocacy Week. There will be a kickoff address on February 1st at 9 a.m. If you're interested in viewing that live, the link will be on our campus government relations page. I put the link in the chat. Going on to our diversity and inclusion efforts. This spring, the President's Commission on Diversity and Inclusion meetings will focus on a review and analysis of the campus climate survey that was administered last fall, and implementation and assessment of the various action steps outlined in the Diversity and Inclusion Plan and by the President and Cabinet. We'll also coordinate closely with the Student Commission on Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging that will also begin meeting this spring. Finally, I'd just like to highlight again the Campus Advisory Board on University Policing and Community Safety that was established in the fall and charged to discuss and review policing responsibilities and other issues or concerns, to make recommendations to the President and develop a campus report regarding the University Police Department. Please stay tuned for more information on how you can be involved and participate in campus forums this spring. Thank you, and back to President John.
Okay, sorry, I had to turn on my camera. Thank you, everyone. And we're going to answer questions as soon as I just say thank you. As final closing remarks, I do want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And don't forget, if you do have questions, you can enter them into the Q&A box. Oh, sorry, it's not, my video not on. Is it on now? I think it's on now. So enter your questions into the Q&A box on the lower right of your screen. And if we don't get a chance to answer all of your questions live, we will promise that we will save your questions and send you a response via email as well. So Rosalie, do you want to start us with the first one?
Yes, Ella, we've been trying our best to answer questions in real time. So I want to thank all the panelists for responding. A couple of questions that were not answered. I'm going to start with, does it still look like we will be face-to-face in the fall?
Well, the answer to that is yes. As I said, the entire CSU system is hoping to be back face-to-face, but so much of it honestly depends on the rollout of the vaccine. The health departments cannot allow us to gather. There was a related question about commencement. Until we reach herd immunity, which is something like 70–80% of the population has to be vaccinated. And even after you're vaccinated, it's not a perfect 100% guarantee, because even though this is a very effective vaccine, it covers 95%, but in 5% of the cases, people still may end up with COVID. So for those reasons, we have to follow the local health department guidelines, and we're never going to be permitted to have, remember, we sometimes have 10,000 people gathered together on campus at our amphitheater outside. Of course, it is outside, but until we know more about how we can roll out and get more people, and right now students are not in the top priority of getting vaccinated, so there's a whole list of priority yet to come, and so we have to wait until we have more information to be able to do to decide whether we can continue to open up. But we are hoping that with more vaccines and more people coming out to get them, that speeds up the chance that we can have all these other things as well.
Thank you. Next question. When will first-time freshmen receive emails regarding if they were accepted to Stan State or not? Some students have heard from other CSUs. And that's for Gitanjali, please.
Thank you, Rosalie. I want to mention that students that are admitted to Stan State receive an admit packet, and these packets started going out last week. So far, we've sent out about 1,000 of them.
Okay.
So you should be hearing very soon then.
Thank you. For Julie Johnson, is there a plan to restart the search hiring processes for staff MPP job searches that were frozen or suspended when COVID began?
Well, and also I should also jump in here as president, because just as a reminder, the governor's budget is still a proposed budget, and we did not get new baseline money. So we are still in structural deficit as a system. So we were able to avoid layoffs because we froze many positions that were vacant. So I cannot open those now because there is no money. The state does not have money. We're in tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in deficit in the base of the state. We have one-time money coming forward, but you can't hire someone with one-time money and the following year not have that money. So I'm sorry to say that we don't have immediate plans until we probably won't know until June, and even in June, because there's the May revise. January is the initial proposal from the governor. It has to go through the legislative process, et cetera. So it won't be until probably late June that we'll have some better sense and see how the economy hopefully starts to stabilize. The more that we can get vaccines out and get people vaccinated.
Thank you for that response. President John or Provost Guer, what is happening with the ethnic studies mandate?
Go ahead, Kim.
Sorry, just takes my unmute button a moment. I actually was just responding to that question and was just finishing typing it. The Ethnic Studies faculty and the shared governance, our academic senate committees, UEPC and GE Sub, and kind of informal implementation committee continue to work on that new important curricular requirement. So it was most recently discussed briefly in Senate yesterday during a discussion, I think, of a UEPC report out.
Next question. Since the Student Rec Center is not in service until further notice, will students be reimbursed for fall and spring, or will that fund be used for something else to better CSU Stan State?
Thanks, Rosalie. So yeah, thank you for that question. Campus Recreation has provided and continues to provide numerous programs online and also partners with other campus departments. So those fees are still being utilized to pay for the building, the staffing, and that programming. So there will not be a refund.
Thank you, Christine. With the increase in funds, how will that benefit the students as far as financial aid? Will students have used up their financial aid benefit?
So, Gitanjali, do you have Noelia online? Is she able to unmute, or you can answer this question? We are getting money from the federal government, from Congress, for another round of student support funding. So at the same amount, roughly 6 million, as we did in the earlier. So do you want to fill in for there?
Yes. And just as we did for the last round of CARES, there will be ongoing support for students this time as well, based on financial aid status, their expected family income, and so on and so forth. The plan this year, this spring, will resemble the one that we had last fall. And if I can find any other additional information, I'll post it in the chat.
Mm-hmm. And so, Gitanjali, maybe you can have Noelia send out a message or on the website, because we will be distributing the money again to the most needy students in the same kind of manner that we did in the first round. Okay.
Christine, CJ that is, could you possibly answer the next question? What tier are faculty for the vaccine?
Actually, I believe it is the next year.
Yeah,
phase 1B.
correct. That's correct, Ellen. We're told by Stanislaus County that the next tier, tier 1B, will be for faculty and staff that are eligible on campus.
Yeah, and we are working directly with the county as well as at the state level to ensure that students can be put into a higher tier as well. Because if we're going to open for the fall, we cannot do that unless we have students have access to the vaccine as well. So we are also working our other channels from that standpoint. And by the way, also working hard to make sure that more vaccines are being distributed to us, not just in the Central Valley, but in California, because as you've heard, the reserves and the stockpiling and all those issues are not as robust as they could be. And some states have run out of vaccines. So we're working on multiple fronts.
This next question, well, statement is not a question, it's just a thank you. And I thought it was important to share this. Sarah Airstead wanted to thank the interpreters. It was wonderful to be able to observe your ASL translations. I just wanted to share that. Thank you for putting that note in. Next question. COVID has been devastating for so many businesses across the county. What state initiatives are ongoing this year to support economic growth across the region?
So I can answer several things. One is that, we do work closely with our business councils, both at Stanislaus County as well as San Joaquin County. We have established a brand new Career Ready University initiative. So Gitanjali and I have been going out. We have 19 CEOs of companies, nonprofits, governmental agencies, et cetera, healthcare agencies to create a linkage between our local businesses and organizations with our students. So letting them know that we have a pipeline of students, not just graduating students, but alumni that are available for internships, for hiring, et cetera. And then I will say also that the provost and the deans and I are looking carefully because this is coming from the governor himself, is asking universities to identify what are the workforce gaps that are going to be most needed to be filled as we come out of the pandemic, and how can we assist students in either, majoring those kinds of degrees, or how we can, connect with our local industry sectors. So those are multiple things that we're doing. And then Michelle also had a donor who's contributed towards entrepreneurship in those other areas that we'll be able to talk about shortly.
Thank you, President John. Will vaccinations be required for those returning to campus?
No, right now it is a difficulty because the COVID vaccine, in order to be released, had to secure a federal authorization called EUA, Emergency Use Authorization. So that's a federal designation that does not permit other campuses or business or organizations to require it. So those are all issues that are being examined by attorneys at the federal level, within the CSU, et cetera. So what we want to do in the meantime is just, because we have to remove the EUA designation to make it required. So we are talking about other alternatives of how to help encourage, strongly encourage that people get the vaccine, because this enables greater safety and enables us to come closer to opening up face-to-face.
How does the change in the vaccine rollout affect those who are essential workers who are on campus daily, but don't fall into the new age-driven rollout?
So those that are essential workers continue to, will be, their job conditions are relatively the same. So, we want to make sure that you are staying safe and doing all the precautions, the PPE, and all of those kinds of things. So all those things remain the same. And obviously, the sooner that we can, have access to the vaccine for those of us in stage 1B, then you will be eligible soon. Yes, the next question is, will summer sessions be virtual? Yes, that's already been decided. So that's a simple answer, yes.
Yes.
I want to, President John, it is 3:10. Do you want to take a couple more questions?
Sure.
Okay. I think you answered this, but just to clarify, a question is, are vaccinations going to be mandated in order to attend in-person classes?
Not right now. We don't have the federal authority to do that yet, but with the new administration, with more removal of the EUA designation on the COVID vaccine, that may become possible later. But right now, we just want to say, if you have an opportunity, please get vaccinated. It safeguards you, it safeguards everyone in your family, and it makes it possible that we can open up sooner.
Okay. Will anyone be going to the Stockton campus to give staff and faculty the COVID vaccine?
Well, our Stockton campus is so small, it's not really amenable for the county at San Joaquin County to ask us for a vaccination site. But the vaccination sites that are available in San Joaquin are going to be open for all the faculty and students and staff who are in San Joaquin.
Will we be seeing grant opportunities for faculty this semester from PCDI or the FDC?
Yes, PCDI will be issuing a call for proposals within the next week or two.
Thank you. And we're going to take these last two questions. These are the last two before President John does her closing statements. Let me read this really quick. Student athletes have been given an opportunity for the NCAA to receive 11th to 12th and even a 13th to 14th semester. Has there been any discussion on extending financial aid for qualified student athletes in regards to allow more units above the maximum allowed now?
That's a really good question. We'll have to check in with our athletic director, Terry Donovan, because those are issues that are governed by NCAA restrictions and constraints. So we have to stay in alignment with that. So we will find out. And I will tell you that Terry and his group will make sure that student athletes are given the correct information. Good question.
What is being done about the safety at the Stockton campus, especially between 7:20 and 10 p.m.?
So we have worked with Dean Famous Harrison at Stockton, as well as with our the developers, the Groupie and Huber developers there, to look at different other additional safety measures that we have undertaken. So if you are a Stockton student or faculty or staff, Famous will be continuing to give you updates on those new developments.
I'm going to put these last two questions together and you can answer them quickly. Should we anticipate layoffs due to reduced enrollment and funding for fall 2021? That's the first question. And has there been any discussion or consideration of using retirement incentives to make up for budget shortfalls?
So we were fortunate not to have layoffs of any permanent staff this past year. I'm sorry, I can hear an echo, Rosalie, or something. Someone, oh, maybe Kim, if somebody who has their, yeah, there you go. So we're hopeful that we won't have to do any layoffs. And as you heard Gitanjali speak as VP for STEMI, that our enrollments are down, but not by a huge amount. We'll see what happens once we see what the return rate is on the students who want to come this coming fall. But we're hopeful that we will not have a huge downturn in our enrollment. As you heard about it, 2% down in spring, and we'll see what happens for next fall. So at the present time, we're not anticipating, but you never know. Don't have a crystal ball. So just stay tuned, but we will do everything in our power not to continue to do layoffs again for next year. And I can say that I have alerted my CFO to look into the retirement benefits that incentives that were used at other campuses like Chico and at Humboldt. So other campuses are enacting or considering enacting that possibility. But our budget shortfall, if we have one, should not be too significant. But in the event that that isn't a situation, then certainly we will put it into our toolkit. So we have it available, but we will not need to utilize that unless we see significant downturn. But we're very hopeful that we will stay strong.
Okay, this concludes our Q&A and our town hall. President John, would you like to give a closing statement?
Yes, I just want to say thank you everyone for tuning in. It's a record number of over 450 individuals who wanted to sign up. This is being recorded, I believe. Is this being recorded, Rosalie? Rosalie, was this being recorded?
I couldn't hear you. Say that again.
Yes, was this being recorded? So can people view
Yes.
it later? Okay. So so others who couldn't make this particular time slot can watch it later. And as Rosalie said earlier, Dr. Rose Rush said, if you have any questions, please feel free to send them forward. You can put them in the Q&A here, or you can write to us directly via email, and we'll always be able to answer questions. And we'll continue to do updates from time to time as we normally have. So again, congratulations on making it through to new 2021. We're going to start this year with a forward positive thinking, and welcome to the new semester. I hope you have a great spring semester with your students, and we look forward to the day soon. We hope to be able to be back together, seeing each other face to face, and working on our beautiful campus again. So thank you, and thank you to Interpreter Malik and others for assisting us in this effort. So stay well, everyone, stay safe, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you again. Bye-bye.